On this week's episode of Motivational Minutes, True Nature Travel CEO Joshua Canter recalls the first time he realized his company was on track to becoming a success. So I know you've had some great experiences too with True Nature. So I would love if you have one or two of some of your favorite excursions or favorite moments from any of your trips with your students or with your travelers in different countries.
Yes. Wow. I mean, I get this question often, and it's like a incredible painting and trying to like pick out,
Mm,
what's my favorite color or what's my favorite
right.
stroke, I would
Right.
say. I think at the very beginning of the journey when we were on the land, I mean, again, I come from LA. I was I went to school and I studied sustainable community development. I had this vision, like you talked about vision. I had this vision, and I created my senior thesis on how to build an intentional community. An intentional community is basically, it's basically a community that has a very clear plan, kind of like a business plan, and it really outlines how to lay out the community, how the people are going to gather, how the structures are set up, how the internal structures are set up, and so we landed in Costa Rica on this property. After many steps, the vision was planted in the seeds, and and it was again a far cry from LA, a far cry from the US. We were in a small farming village in the mountains in Costa Rica. Maybe some of the listeners have been on some of our Costa Rica trips, and you all know, it's raw and it's kind of wild and it's extremely beautiful, but it's very foreign. And so I would say when that first group arrived, it was a very pivotal and again, I've used this word over and over, transformative experience. Not only I think for the students that arrived, for us, because I'd never led a group. I've done a little bit of facilitation, but next thing we had a group there for 3 weeks, and on this land, and with a curriculum we were just rolling out with a lot of experiential components, and that was really the crash course in basically true nature. Like how do we create a safe container, which is super important for us? How do we create an accessible environment when you have people come from all over the world, and this is again their first time in a place? How do you create inspiring content, and how do you present it in a way that is going to be um, you know accessible enough to be integrated, so it can be absorbed and then actually then taken out into the world, which is really, again, my goal is like for people to have these experiences and then go out. So a lot happened in that 3 weeks, and yes, we slipped and fell, literally and symbolically in many ways, like going down wet paths in the middle of storms, but also just like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? This is totally crazy. But I remember literally when the students got on the 3 weeks, we hiked, we meditated, we sat in classes, underneath pouring rain, in like these structures. We did service work in the village. We were all over. And I remember when the students pulled away in their van, I literally just like fell to the ground, like fell backwards, like when someone, like I watched tennis, like wins the US Open. I was just like, oh my gosh, we did it. And I was
Right, right,
exhausted, and I
yeah.
was like, but it was a real breakthrough moment, and it was a breakthrough that like we did it and we can do this, and this is powerful,
Mm.
and this is the door is opening. The door is open.
Subscribe today for more inspiration on the go.